Hello, how are you? So I'm very happy to be here. My name is Mariana, and I work for Google. I'm the head of strategy for Google and the Zoo in LatAm. And what we do is that we work with brands and creative agencies, and we help them build better digital platforms, mainly thinking about creativity and branding, right? So it's a very fun work, and all my background in advertising agencies is helping me to do that. Besides that, I do other stuff, such as pro bono. I like to be a volunteer. That is something that is really important for me. I teach, I write, and I do meditation, but that is not working very well so far. But I do recommend it. I do recommend it. So, Mad Girl. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of this title, but please raise your hand if I look mad to you. I don't, right? I know. So, well, I was thinking that, mad can be either I'm angry, which I'm not, or I'm crazy, which, I cannot tell you about that. But yes, I was thinking about the name of this talk, and I loved the term Mad Girl because it is like a connection with my story. And what I want to do today is tell you very briefly my story over the last 20 years, but it will be brief, and tell you how I am connecting with the technological world as a psychologist and as a strategist, and what I'm learning about being in Google and working with engineers and coders. So the inspiration for this talk also came from these amazing women. So you know these girls? Mad girls in Mad Men, okay. So they open a lot of doors for us, women in advertising, such as today, it's not even a conversation to be a woman in advertising, right? It's not like, oh, are you a woman in advertising? A woman in advertising? Yeah. It's not a conversation because they open doors. They really helped us to have a strong career in advertising, and that's what I did for almost 20 years. And they are my inspiration, and in a way, I'm daughter of these amazing ladies. So I started in advertising when I was very young. This is me when I got my first salary. I was very, very thrilled. So I spent there a lot of years. In those years, and even now, working in advertising was really glamorous. You got to, go to shootings and meet celebrities and actors, and it was fun. It is fun. It's a very, very exciting industry. As a strategist, I devoted a lot of time thinking about how to unlock cultural insights to help creatives think better. So I do a lot of research, I read a lot, I was kind of a nerd, so I stayed in the office while they were partying, and I was reading books and articles and research to really understand how to make them create better campaigns. That was my role. And also being a psychologist helped me do this on a very deep way because I really was open to understand human truth, human motivations, human emotions, and also being a psychologist helped me to manage some colleagues. You never know. And this, he was my guru for some time now, not that much, but it's always helpful to have him on your back. So why? Why was one of the main questions I did to myself, and I had in my mind for a lot of years. Why? So why do consumers hate this brand? Why do users lie? Why do we break a promise? I never break a promise, do you? But we act in different ways, right? We are not very predictable. You never know what's going to happen with human beings. So I spent a lot of years asking why, because I wanted to have explanations to build this strategic frame and then provide creatives with a good, mindset to think. So why was my motto for a lot of years. And this was also connected with, okay, I need to build this story. So I needed to connect a lot of dots of meaning, of all these emotions, all these insights. I needed to build a story about why are users doing what they do, so we could have this big idea. And big idea was, I said that 1,000 times every day when I was in advertising, and it was like the main goal we had. And then, after all these years in advertising, I got hired by Google 3 years ago, and my life changed. My surrounding was transformed. And I can't deny, I had some stereotypes. And at the beginning I was like, is this me going into the Big Bang Theory? How would I work with children? How would I fit? I didn't even understand, what my character would be on that show. I was so confused. But this was stereotype, right? And stereotypes are not very useful. I was trying to find a visual image of how did I feel, and this is pretty much, my first days in this amazing company that I love with all my heart. I was excited, I was thrilled, I was surprised, I was confused, you let me know, I can leave it for you for 1 more minute. Let's laugh. So this little cat, there are a lot of this on YouTube, you can find them. So this little cat is like so you understand me, right? I was like, what? And the other thing, I started to be aware about all this conversation around women in technology. It was like, what is the matter about women, innovation, and technology? Is there something I should know? I'm here. I was so confused at that moment. I was thinking, is that about female cyborgs? Are we going to build female robots or something? No, of course not. This was a deep conversation about the opportunities that we as women have in the technology world. So I slowly started to understand that there was a lot more. First, that technology will bring me the opportunity to stretch as never before my skills as a strategist, as a psychologist, and as a researcher. And also that I will be able to share what I have learned in so many years of working in advertising. So it was like a really good, it has worked. It has been really interesting, to be connected with a world that is not the same that I was doing, but that in a way I can complement. Second, I also understood that women, we have a lot of spaces to work in digital and technology. Just imagine, from strategy to coding, to development, to implementation, to execution, there's a whole new space for women to really get into technology. What is the challenge? The challenge we have is that still we are not yet. For instance, 25% of the computer jobs in this country are held by women. And only 17, this was a special effect to give, more importance to these very important numbers. So you remember, 25% of, I hope I don't fall here. Is everything okay? I'm starting to feel, okay. So 25% of the computer jobs are held by women. And if you think about the 500 Fortune companies, 17% of the chief information officers of this company are women, 17%. So one of the conversations we have a lot in Google is how we can explain girls about how cool it is to study something related with technology. That is a really beautiful conversation, so you can influence them from the beginning. So at this point, I understood the whole context. I was connected with technology, and I started to put my skills as a researcher to get to understand how engineers and coders think. I interviewed a lot of them all over the world, trying to understand how they tackle problems, how they see the world, how they, I don't know, what questions do they have in their mind. And I really discovered amazing things in this journey. And I want to share with you what I have been trying to do. My first decision, and I think it was the most important one, was to be open, be totally open to learning new things, to perceive reality with fresh eyes, and to drop my previous beliefs about what works, what doesn't work, what technology is. I was trying to start fresh, and I really commit myself to be open and have a no mind around this adventure And I want to share with you 3 insights or 3 secrets that I have learned that I hope that will be helpful for you. First, I think that you could use this to take more advantage of the digital ecosystem you have. Second, you also could use this to have better relationship with your digital partners. So you can understand them and you can bring them to the table, not only to solve problems, but bring them to think about how to solve problems. And that's the main difference, right? So the first insight, what if? You remember that I was telling before that I was asking why? So I have learned that why is not enough, because that is only trying to find an explanation. But we also need to figure out some solutions to those questions. We need to dream about, how can reality be? How could we create different solutions? Engineers are always connected with the what-if mindset, all the time. And there is something really beautiful about this, and is that they are always surprised about life. They see life every day with fresh eyes, like kids. It was amazing. I have a story about this. Once I was in a plane, and we were having this business trip, and I was sitting with a colleague that he's an engineer, and everything was okay. I was in the plane, and the plane was taking off, and he said to me, "I'm so surprised that this plane is taking off." And I had a panic attack, and I'm like, "Do you know something that I don't? I mean, this plane should take off." But he was amazed about the machine being able to fly. I'm talking about the Google engineer, right? So when was the last time you felt awe in your work, in your daily reality? When was the last time you really let your surroundings impact you in a way that you feel truly surprised? This is really important. If we lose our skill to be surprised by little details and things that we take for granted, we cannot have space in our mind for a what-if approach. Second insight, prototype mindset. So I will let you laugh at these poor robots that will be falling several times. And this is an engineer's paradise. When I see this, I feel anxiety because this is all, this is not working. But they're like, "Oh my God, it's not working." And I'm like, what's going wrong with you? So this is my second insight for you, prototype mindset. When you think about prototyping, or at least me, I was thinking about these little robots that were built and they were failing, or little devices, right? I think about little machines that only few guys were building. As a matter of fact, prototyping is a mindset. It's a mindset that will help you approach reality in a really more creative way. Why? Because it will help you embrace failure. I was very scared of failure. Are you? Who is scared of failure here? Raise your hand. Oh, but you're a very brave group. So I was very, very scared about failure. I couldn't stand it. I didn't want to fail. And mistakes? No, I didn't make mistakes. I was perfect, right? So when I got to know these guys, I realized that the important thing is that you need to plan to fail earlier and make happy mistakes as soon as you can, and then enjoy. This is therapeutical, So when I talk to these guys and I work with them, we will have this approach to the project that will help us always plan pilot phases. It could be 1, 2, or 3, but the pilot phase, the pilot step is there. It's not an accident. It's happening because we want it to happen. So this is an invitation for you to take this pilot concept, this prototyping concept, into your daily work. You don't need to build robots. You don't need to build devices to have this mindset. You just have to open in your process the space to try, to fail, which is the best way I have seen that we can have to learn, to really, really impact ourselves with learnings. Prototyping mindset is also a way to land ideas into solutions and to understand how we can adapt to how human psychology is changing. I mean, I know that you have been reading and you have been, maybe understanding everything that is changing. I'm also, every day, I'm amazed about what I'm learning on the human psychology. So just a tiny example. You see this guy? You see him, no? He's like a board, but he's in an elevator. So guess which is the button in an elevator that is more used? I want to hear. One? No. What? Closed doors. Closed doors. And this is not, I'm not making this up. There's a research. There's a book called Faster. So we have no patience. We are forgetting how to wait. So the next time you get into an elevator, make the test. I've been doing this in every elevator I have been using in all my travels. It's a global research. And every time I get into this, it has to be like a smart elevator, not a very, old-fashioned one, sorry. So you would see that we are, we have to go to floor 20. And then you will see that there's this person in disguise with his little, like pushing the button. And he wouldn't let the people get in or out. So he's losing only maybe, I make the sum, and it was like 10 seconds every floor. So it's not that much. But this is a reality. We are not being able to wait. We are shaping the way we see reality in ways that are amazing, and we should be aware of that, and we should also be open to adapt to this and to understand it. And this is also very important. We need to be non-judgmental. Sometimes I'm very judgmental with this. It's like when I'm talking to someone and, they are looking at their mobile phone, the 80s girl that lives in me, she's like, no, put attention to me. I need you to look at me. But, that is life right now. We are connected, and life is on and offline. It doesn't make any sense to make separations. Well, so this is just an example about how we are changing. And this gets me into my third insight. We need to evolve from being thinkers to being makers. So it's not that we have to stop thinking, of course, but that we need to build a bridge between our ideas and the solution and be involved in all the process. It's not that, okay, I think, then this guy designs, and then this guy implement, and this guy launch. It should be the same process, more seamless. And we all can be makers. If I can be a maker, you can be a maker. So I have learned to be more concrete about my ideas, and go down from this abstract world I was living, which is cool, but also be able to be more tangible and think about these solutions that I've been talking to you about. So for instance, I don't know, Gmail was part of this thinking, right? Or a contact lens that is helping people to control diabetes. It's also part of this thinking. Is how do I land? How do I think about the what if? How do I open a prototype mindset? And how do I become a maker? A maker is a person that is able to shape reality and shape the way we embrace life, offering solutions, tools to have better and happier lives. That is a maker, and we all are makers. So this is like an image that for me is the summary of this approach I have created, and it's openness. And I use the nature picture because it's also very organic. Technology is so organic, so human, and that is something very, very important to keep in mind. So I was thinking in this open space, filled with fresh air, in which everything can be there, failure, mistakes, possibilities, all the things that would help us create better solutions. Everything starts with an open mind and with fresh eyes. So, in summary, 3 insights for you. What if approach, remember to ask yourself, what if, every time you tackle a business or a life challenge? What if? Second, prototype mindset. You will remember these robots that are falling apart, and you will remember that they are the best gift for an engineer. So let's think that we can also build prototype phases in our processes, in our journeys. And third, remember to transform the thinkers phase to the makers phase, so we can be more related with what reality needs. So this girl, she has become a YouTube star, and she's 2 years old. This girl was the first kid ever to realize that a paper magazine is really a broken iPad. Isn't it? So she would be there in the video trying to use her little finger, as you can see, to make the pictures move. And her frustration when the thing is not working is a blessing. She would turn the page and she would try again to make the picture move, and nothing happens. And she would try again. And you know, at some point she's like, okay, this is not what I wanted. So this girl will not be asking herself, what is a woman doing in technology? She will not have that conversation. She will be technology. She will be a maker, right? So I want to close the presentation with a case that is very close to my heart. This is a team of Mexican girls, 3 girls, 9-year-old, and they won the prize for the Google Lunar Moonbots project. So as you know, this project was opened a couple of years ago to generate a simulation environment in which a rover could simulate going and surfacing and moving over a lunar, the moon phase, the moon surface. So bring all their knowledge about technology to imagine this reality and build this robot that would be potentially able to walk in the moon. So I want you to see the video for a couple of minutes. So these girls are the best example of what I have been telling you today. They have a what-if mindset, they have a prototype mindset, and they are makers. And they believe that they can make their dream happen. So let's go together to the moon, right? Thank you. So here are my contact information. If you want to drop me an email, I will be happy to stay in touch. And I really enjoyed this conversation. Remember the cat? You can use it in your